Hola. From the west side. It is me, DC, the Purple Diva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Friday, y'all. We made it through this week. A lot of stuff happened this week. There were several celebrations of life for George Floyd. And we found out some other, hey, Darren, hey, Uppity. And we found out, about some other corrupt police decisions that have happened. One of them specifically up in Tacoma, Washington. Where, they feel that it's justified, but I beg to differ. And the police feel that the police should not be, they shouldn't look further into this, and make other police officers sacrifice during this time, which is a bunch of BS to me. Hey, Matt. Yeah, it's just dumb how they did that. That made me understand why police officers' cars were getting set on fire in Seattle. And I mean, we have to think about some of the history. And people have brought some things have brought up some very valid points and stuff in regards to this, because, yeah, we do need to make sure that Black lives matter, but we need to make sure that they also matter to Black people, because we still have to do something about Blacks killing Blacks. And yes, I understand this all goes back to the plantation and slavery. But at some point, and maybe I'm hoping now is the time, we need to get all of these people out of this slave mentality. It's crazy.
Jim Crow, Willie Lynch.
We got to get them out of it. So, yeah, it's great that we're going after, and I say we, the collective, are going after law enforcement for the treatment of Black people, and because of the systematic racism. But we also have to think about what we need to do to stop the internal fighting within our people. Hey, Angel. Yeah, she's a tall girl. They used to have this store that I shopped at, and they actually had an online magazine, for ordering and stuff. And I was one of the models for it, but it was a tall girl shop. And I was actually short in this tall girl shop because, I'm 5'9", and 5'9" is tall, but this shop really catered to women who are at least 6 foot tall, really 5'11", 6 foot. So I would have to get my stuff taken in because it would be too long. But I loved the store because they catered to tall women who were also slimmer, which was what my issue was. Not being able to find pants that were long enough, but that, fit me in the waist. Because, not everybody who's tall is a big girl. Of course, let me just tell y'all, this quarantining has got your girl DC starting to spread. But my dude said it's in a good way, so I'm gonna accept that. Because if he likes it, I love it, you know. But we got to get our folks together. Now, I was gonna do something a little different tonight. Let me see if I can find it, because I got to make sure I'm singing the right words. This is one of these moments where I feel like I need to do a little inspiration. I'll do a little bit of it. I'm not going to do the whole song, but I'm just feeling that I guess I should come on camera to do this. I don't know, should I? I don't know. I'll come on camera for a minute so y'all can see me, so y'all know it's really me singing. How about that? Hi, everybody. I'm on camera for a minute. All right, so let me turn my little music down. And I do not own the rights to these lyrics that I'm going to be singing, but I'm not using their music, so I should not get any copyright strikes because it's me singing. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of Rise Up tonight. All right, just to inspire us, a little Friday flavor for y'all, since I never sing other than the recorded ones I do for you guys. All right, here we go. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gonna walk it out. Move mountains, we gonna walk it out. And move mountains. And I'll rise up today. I'll rise up unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like the wave. I'll rise up in spite of the rage. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. That's a little bit of Rise Up for you guys. That's a little Friday flavor for y'all. I just thought I'd do that. Came on camera just to do that part, so y'all knew it was really me and that it was not, me putting somebody else in there. Now I'm going to go back to my off camera, but y'all can see I look normal. But I'm shy about coming on camera and singing live for y'all. So I'm going to go back to my picture. But I gave y'all a little bit of that. Hey, Terry. Hey, Tutu Thing Thing. Thank you very much, Uppity. This is just my own skin, no foundation, just good genes. I'll say that. Good genes from my daddy and my mama. But my dad is a dermatologist. And did y'all, I didn't show y'all something. I got to show y'all. I'm going to come back on just so y'all can see this. You guys see this necklace I have right here? You see this? My dad got this necklace from South Africa when he went to South Africa. It's, South African material with a purple. So I had to let y'all see it. It goes perfect with my purple hair. Y'all like my purple hair? I did all this myself. All right, back off camera. So anyway, I hope you guys like that little part of, Rise Up. Shouts out to Andra Day because she has a new single out, you guys, and all of the proceeds from the song are going out to help. So, hey Zero, thank you. Yeah, I came on camera for a minute. You guys can see, like things are starting to open up here. One of my favorite things to do opened up tonight, but I didn't go out. But karaoke is starting to open up, y'all. Maybe one night I'll do a live from the karaoke. I don't know. Because I don't think you can get copyrights, because in those situations, it's not the artist and you're not playing the artist's actual music. Because you guys know, like when you do the karaoke, they always have to have a remaster. They can't, it can't be the actual original music unless they got permission to use the actual music. Normally, the artist gives permission to use something in the style of, as long as it's not their exact music. And then, they put the words on it and, folks get up there and sing. I haven't sung that one in a while, so I had to look at the words, make sure I, remembered them. But I've been doing a little of my singing. Hey, Marilyn. Did Marilyn come in? Hi, how are you, Marilyn? But yeah, one of the things that I really believe that we need to look at while we're doing all of this Black Lives Matter, we need to make sure that Black Lives Matter to Black people. All Black people. And, just like people like, the late Nipsey Hussle were trying to, bring communities together. That's part of the stuff that we need to do. With this so-called taking monies that have been going to police departments in the communities that's going to be happening in. I think, that's part of the thing, is investing in those communities, like having businesses that are in the community that, I don't know, the owner of the business actually lives in the community, so we don't have all of these liquor stores in the Black communities that someone Black doesn't own. I mean, it'd be nice if they weren't all liquor stores, but reality is reality. We seem to like alcohol, and most of the time the liquor stores have other items in them. They have convenience stuff in there, and generally they're cheaper than 7-Eleven. But that's what I think, is that the businesses need to be owned by the people in the community. Hey, even the 7-Elevens, because 7-Elevens, majority, a lot of them are franchised. But I don't know how many of them are Black owned, because I rarely see anyone who is a person of color behind the counter. Usually they're not. And at least in the communities around the Los Angeles area that are Black, the liquor stores are generally owned by people who are of the Asian persuasion. Yes, they're of the Asian persuasion. We don't own those Black stores. So our dollars don't stay in our communities for very long. That's the reason why we have to own stuff. We don't own anything. And yes, we do have some people who own, we have a lot of Black people. I'm not going to say a lot, but we have some Black people who own homes and stuff. But do we own businesses in our communities? No, we don't. We don't. We did, but those businesses are long gone. You can see the remnants of them if you go through places like Compton, if you go through places like Washington, D.C., go through Harlem in New York, go through the south side of Chicago. You can see where the black businesses were that don't no longer exist. And why is that? Because the people who have the money to open businesses move out of the black communities. And if they do decide to open a business, they don't open that business in the black community. But somebody else will. Hey, Jack. Yeah, it was warm today, Tutu, but it's supposedly cooling down. But I think I'm just having flashes, so I think I'm just hot flashing. Hey, information man. Good to see you. But the reality is that if we're going to do this Black Lives Matter thing, we got to make sure black people think that Black Lives Matter too. You know, and I don't know. Now, I saw something that, what's his name? Killer Mike. He got some gang affiliate to start a business in the community. I think, and they showed it on, I think it was on Netflix, where he got the Bloods and the Crips in the ATL to start businesses. And they did cola businesses. Now, I know that like here in LA at one time, there was some former gang members that had, like a bakery and stuff. I don't know if it's around anymore. It's called Homeboy's Bakery. And I remember that Shaquille O'Neal used to have, I think his company was based here in LA. And he was trying to, bring in people of color to be there and stuff. Y'all, I'm walking across the room, y'all. I got to make sure that what I'm cooking does not burn or nothing. Because I'm sorry, I'm frying some chicken for my man while I'm doing my live. So I am doing double duty. But I'm almost done with the chicken. But yeah, I kind of think that if in order to do this correctly, it can't just be about these protests, trying to get into police brutality. We also have to try to slow down the rate of black on black. It's not going to work any other way. I mean, I don't think it's going to work any other way. The protests, like I said, the marches, the protests are good. And I really hope that they continue to keep going on. We'll see what happens this weekend. We'll see what happens this weekend if we have more marches and demonstrations, if that momentum continues to go. But we also have to have a momentum on stopping the black on black killing, on stopping this cycle of our black men and women ending up in the penal system. And I'm talking about the ones that are doing the crimes. I'm not talking about the ones who end up in jail and are innocent. That's a whole nother conversation. But the way that they do our folks is that they go to jail, and they get charges stacked on them, and their white counterparts don't go through the same thing. You know, even if they are gang affiliate, you know, like we're the only ones that have gangs. Please, have y'all been to the suburbs where they have their little gangs? And they're not black. You know, but those boys don't go through the same, you know, stuff, because they just, with them it's boys will be boys. But if it's our boys, well, our boys should have known better. Treatment has got to be the same across the board in that situation. But we've got to find ways to redirect some of these young people from criminal lives. And right now, you know, jobs being a scarcity in some situations, in some communities, you know, I wish that we had more of an entrepreneurial spirit among us as a people. Because, see, DC has always had something she was trying to do since I was a kid. Since I was a kid. I was not old enough to do this, but I was a catalog shoe salesperson. Now, I just signed up for it and started selling the shoes to all my relatives. The name of the shoe company was Stuart McGuire Shoe Company, and they were in Virginia. This is back in the 70s. I'm sure they don't exist anymore. But yeah, at that age, I was starting to do stuff. Before I could legally work, I always wanted to have my own business. So I've always had side hustles. I started a publishing company in my 20s. Haven't published anything, but I have a publishing company. I started it. You know, I put things in place for things, but we're not teaching this to our kids. The next generation has to know that it's got to be about more than just getting a job. We got to teach them the same way other cultures teach their kids. Now, don't let me say it and misconstrue that that's not what's happening. Some people are doing that. You know, I mean, you got brothers like Darren, who's in the chat, who gets on here and gives you guys golden nuggets about how to do these things. And if you're smart, if you got kids, you share that information with them. You know, because for us, we will never have any power until we start to learn how to create generational wealth. And that's whether that's whether we decide we're going to be in this country or we decide we're going to go back to the motherland. It really doesn't matter. We still have to, that still is something that we lack. And I don't know if it's because it was stolen from us when we were raped from the land that our ancestors were from, and have lost all the cultures that happened over there. But I believe that's probably what it is. But somehow we gotta relearn this, because everybody else seems to know how to do it but us. Everybody else seems to know how to do it. And I'm talking about everybody else, in other countries. If you go back to Africa, you see how that they do things, even when they're poor. The poorest will figure out ways to make money. Then you jump in the water and it takes a chunk out of you. Yeah, we do have to respect the disparity in the criminal justice system, but we also have to fight for it to be fixed so that it's not. I mean, everybody agrees that it's slanted to, hurt people of color. Everybody agrees on that. But nobody's in a rush to fix it. Why is that? I don't know. Free labor in the private, prison system, which is the modern day plantation. I mean, 13%, we are 13% of the population. Still, because, those who thought it was going to go through and ravage Black people in America, sorry, not sorry, it did not. It has not. But, what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing people walking around as stuff is opening back up. Yeah, most people were staying inside and they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. But now people are not walking around with masks on, which is why it's starting to spike back up. Please don't be stupid and not wear your mask when you're out in public, because you don't know what other people have been doing, even if you've been good. I mean, because, our friend Angel, who's in the chat, is having to quarantine himself because, his brother was around someone who probably wasn't wearing a mask and caught something, and then they gave it to his brother. So now, here we are, through the contact. Now, I mean, we hope are doing a good job at doing the point of contacts, but you don't even want to be in that cycle. You don't. Because we do not know how this particular virus acts in everybody's body. We have to assume that everybody has it, everybody's walking around asymptomatic. And I really believe there are a lot of people who do or have had it and just didn't get the symptoms, or they had the symptoms before, we started talking about it. So but right now, I am concerned about the spikes. Nashville is slowing down. They're opening up. I don't want, anybody to start getting caught up in this stuff. Don't let your guard down. I'm sorry to say that. Even though we are fighting another fight, in regards to police brutality, but we've been fighting that fight. That didn't just start with George Floyd. It's just when George Floyd was killed, many people outside of Black people got to the point that they just couldn't deal with it anymore. It suddenly became everybody's problem and not just our problem. Now, I appreciate the many white celebrities who are giving over their, sharing their mics and sharing their platforms with Black, people who are part of the movement and have something to say. I applaud them on doing that. But that's not all you need to do. If you're going to be involved in this cause, because it's not just our cause now, then be involved. Don't just be doing these, these commercials like those few, people did. Who cares about your commercial? What else are you doing? It's not just about you encouraging other people to do what they need to be doing. You need to be doing it too. Now, you guys do know that 45, dear old 45, is having his version of fits around, all of the stuff that we're talking about in regards to defunding police departments. It's going to be a long and a hard fight. Every city's not going to react the way that cities like Los Angeles, because we know why they had to. It is what it is here. And yet and still, as we go through this, they're still doing stuff. Still doing stuff. And, Minneapolis, which plans on disbanding. I don't think it's going to be like that in every place else. I know it's not going to be like that in my city that I grew up in, DC. Man, 45 would not have it because he's there. Even with his little bunker that he's now pretending like he didn't go into. Hey, Joe. Jack says, because the fix start with exercising the Fifth Amendment rights, you get conviction rates down. Yeah. Speaking of accepting pleas, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the Brian Johnson story, but that's what happened to Brian Johnson. And if you don't know who Brian Johnson is, and I'm walking over here to turn off the fire. You guys don't know who Brian Johnson is. He is the young man who was falsely accused of raping a young lady when he was in high school in Long Beach, California. This young man was set to get a full ride to USC. Pete Carroll had been watching him for a while. The young lady lied because he didn't want to be with her, and she didn't want her mama to think that she was down there having sex. So she lied and said that she was forced to. And then they got $1.2 million out of the Long Beach school district, which I believe the school district has been going after them to try to get back. Good luck with that. That money's long gone. But yeah, he took a plea deal because his attorney, shame on her, told him that he would be able to go home and that he would probably get probation. They didn't give him probation. They denied him probation and sent him to prison for 6 years. But he ended up being there for 11 years because, of course, when he got in there, he had to, show some people that he was not a punk. So the police system is horrible because you have people pleading to things or pleading no contest, which is the same as guilty in the eyes of the law. It's the same as guilty. And then they stack the charges. They stack charges on our people. And then they don't allow them to run concurrently. They allow them to run each at a time so that they're in jail forever. In jail forever. I know another young man who went through a very similar situation to Brian Johnson. I mean, this young man actually went to my church, still goes to my church. And same thing happened to him. He was even younger. He was 14 when this happened to him. But he, it was a different situation with him. With Brian Johnson, it was a black girl crime rate. In this young man's situation, it was a white young lady who they had consensual sex, but he got marked with statutory rape and went to prison and was in jail until he was 21 years old and is now a registered sex offender, even though he did not rape this girl. But she was white and he's black. And he was a football player. And because of that, his sister, his younger sister, is now an attorney. Matter of fact, she is a public defender with LA County because of what happened to her brother. Imagine that. And she talks about how corrupt the judicial system and how it works. Because, you got to think about it. If you can't afford your own attorney, then you get a public defender. Well, guess what? The public defender and the prosecutor, they work in the same office. So they go and they work out a deal. They probably may or may not look at your case. The judges don't even get any ability to do discretion anymore. That's the way it works. That's the first thing that needs to be fixed, is they need to give it back to the judges and take it away from the prosecutors and stop them from stacking charges on our kids, because they're not doing it with white children. I promise you, they're not. Young adults, teens, they're not doing it with them. They're doing it with and then they're prosecuting our teens as adults. It's the way it's working. These are the things that need to be fixed. They need to, if it's a teenager, if it's a child, they need to go through the juvenile system. You don't try kids as adults. You don't. I mean, if you think that this is somebody who hasn't, who may end up, who should be in the adult system, they still need to they still need to go through the juvenile courts. Because you don't try a 12-year-old as an adult. A 12-year-old brain is, no matter what they did, and I know some 12-year-olds have done some horrible things, but you're gonna try the 12-year-old black child as an adult, but if they were white, you don't. Something's wrong with that, because our children and our young people are seen as guilty automatically. They're automatically seen as a criminal, even if they have never been arrested in their lives. And it's not the same if that person is white. It's just not. It's not. The system is clearly slanted in their favor. They will look at them for potential of being rehabilitated, but they will look at our kid as a lost cause. And expect that even if they get a sentence where they're going to get out, that they're just going to come back to the penal system anyway. Well, the reason most of them do is because they can't get a job if they've got a record. And if they try to start their own business, they have problems doing that because they have a record. Isn't it amazing that most of the marijuana arrests across the years were people of color, because it was fixed that way? And now that marijuana is legal in a lot of different states, those same people of color, who probably might have some expertise in it or whatever, but those same people of color can't reap the benefits of that because many of them have these sometimes misdemeanors. You know, now I know a lot of people getting that expunged from their records and everything, but we're talking they weren't able to do this when this first happened. It's amazing how that happened. And I think what they need, 3 more states to have at least medicinal before they can overturn it, because they need 33 states. And that would overturn federal law. That would automatically overturn the federal law of it being a Schedule I drug. Unlike cocaine, which should be. And then don't forget that, crack got higher sentences and much harsher sentences than the white counterparts with cocaine. Let's not forget that part. So it's a very, very broken penal system. But part of what we need to do is try to keep our people from becoming part of the system. And that's the hard part. Hey, Willie. A trouble kid beat on sister at McDonald's. Wow. Yeah, Emmett Till. Man, nobody's going to forget that. It took a lot of courage for that mama to do what she did too. But she did it because she wanted people to know. And then I believe that in this woman's later years, that she finally recanted and said that that's not what happened, but that she was afraid to tell the truth back then. I mean, but whatever. It's not going to bring him back. And we just have to remember what happened to that young boy who may or may not have made a foolish move because he did not know the rules of the South. I always tell you guys about my brother, how chocolate my brother is. My brother is very chocolate. Good looking dude, though. We look alike. So he's my brother. But he's chocolate. And so he was raised, in DC, where the racism is not in your face, even though it is the South. It's not quite in your face. However, he had seen the burning crosses because we moved from the city to Maryland, and Southern Maryland is no joke when it came to racism in the 70s. But when he moved to California, that was, a done deal, for him, because they're really not in your face here. But then in high school, my dad sent him to a military school in Alabama. And my dark 6'6" brother cannot be inconspicuous. Means too tall to be, So the first time in his life understood what it was like to be called a boy. Now my dad did this, I don't know what my dad's reasons were. My brother hated it because he had never been used to that. But even he knew to be careful. He knew enough. But it's crazy. And they're still treating many people like that. There's many people still, grown men who still answer to boy. Especially in places like the Delta. I'm talking about the Mississippi Delta, one of the poorest areas in this country. The system is built against us. It's built to keep us from becoming wealthy, and it's built to keep, our men and our women at this point in jail, because jail is an equal opportunity. Doesn't care, but when it sees your black skin, it's crazy. But that's the problem. We're viewed crazily because so many people of other ethnicities that shall be nameless for the moment see themselves as better than us. And I'm speaking specifically of us as black, those of us who are black Americans. Even though they don't realize that we were the best of the best. How else could our ancestors, that 242,000, have made it across the Middle Passage, survived, so that we could be here 450 some odd years later? I do too, Marilyn. I hope she saw his face. I hope she lived with that all them years. I hope it bothered her to her core. But I'm sure it didn't. One second, you guys. I'm going to put y'all on mute for just 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm back, guys. I'm sorry. But I didn't feel like yelling across the room why I put his food on the plate for him. So that's why I put y'all on mute for a minute. Oh, I'll come by later after the thing. Calloy. I will definitely come through. But with all of the stuff that's going on in the world, isn't it amazing how people still have time for YouTube drama? How people still have time to jump and cause chaos? It's crazy. Now, I'm going to say this. DC goes wherever she wants to go. However, I don't support everybody. There's certain people that, if they have issues with autism, well, I don't happen to be around you. I don't like to deal with people who make fun of people with disabilities, who have prejudices against people. And let me drink some water. Whew. Sorry, guys. And I don't deal with, I don't deal with ignorance very well. Now, I don't mind, the roastings and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that stuff is kind of funny. Okay. But when people are on here pretending to be people who they aren't and won't just live in their truth, the real truth, it's crazy to me. Now, I don't have time to be anybody besides me. And being me is a lot. Sometimes you may not want to walk into my shoes because I don't really, I share stuff about my life as a caregiver, but I don't share everything, because unlike Micah Stafford, who used her adopted son until she had gotten all what she could get out of him to monetize and making tons of money. I only let my son come. I only bring my son on here when he wants to be on here. Because some things are not for vlogging. Like, I would never think to vlog my son having a meltdown. First of all, he's an adult. And when he's having a meltdown, it is not a cool situation. Not for me. And I wouldn't want other people to see him in that situation. Now, there are some other YouTubers who have shown meltdown situations with their kids just to kind of educate other people about the situation. However, one of them had CPS called on them for no darn good reason. And yet and still, nobody ever called CPS on Micah Stafford. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But they've removed all their videos, and now they're going after people for copyrights on all them if they talk about them. Horrible example of autism parents. Horrible examples of parents, period. And definitely horrible examples of adoptive parents. Horrible examples of content creators. Some people will go to large extents to get what they need. And then people are saying that her supporters paid for her adoption, which I don't know if it was done the legal way. But that's part of the stuff that's been floating around YouTube this week. And they were pretending to be something that they weren't. She's pretending to be a good mom. But apparently she doesn't spend much time with the other kids either. She was always on YouTube, filming. And I can tell you from firsthand, having a child with autism, you don't have time to be filming all the time. I don't have time to be filming all the time, and my son's an adult with autism. But I'm his caregiver because he's not independent yet. But he will be. He will be. It's only a matter of time. And here's the other thing. With that child, Huxley, they were told that he just needed a couple more years and he was going to be on track. So apparently, he's not even as severely autistic as they led people to believe. He was simply nonverbal at this time. And I'll tell you, when my son was 4, yeah, he was pretty much nonverbal. He had lost most of his vocabulary, but he was talking a little bit, you know. But apparently this child wasn't even where my son is. He is apparently looks like he is higher functioning. But I guess they couldn't wait the 2 more years. I guess they had gotten what they felt was the most that they could get off of him on YouTube. And didn't COPA go into effect in January? And yet still these people seem to fly under the radar, huh? They flew right under the radar. Has anybody heard anything? YouTube has said nothing about that. Remember when we were all scared about our videos being flagged and everything? And then here you have it. These parents with a kid on the autism spectrum who they used for views and to get sponsors and to become monetized. And I'm talking about over 700,000 subscribers. I think her husband has that on his other channel, which they now are pushing. Because nobody wants to see her. She is not going to get any Mom of the Year awards. I promise you. One of these days, people like that will not fly under the radar. I'm still angry about that woman. But I'm not going to do another vlog about it. My final thoughts were my final thoughts on it as far as vlogs. But as I hear stuff about this crappy woman, I'm going to say something. Oh, exactly, uppity. And they were showing their son. And if my son is having a meltdown, and you guys have known it, I mean, David has been great. David hasn't had one in months. But when he was having ones, did I not end? I would end the live. I'm like, y'all know, I gotta go. I would stop the live. I wouldn't be on YouTube in the middle of him having a meltdown. I'm done. Me and YouTube, we'll see each other later. And he's an adult. But I just don't think that these people cared about that kid. I think he was about making the money, and they were able to buy them a $600,000 house or something. Man. And I mean, you see other YouTubers who are making money off of that. Now, there's a big YouTuber who has a kid with autism, but she was already a big YouTuber. Dama Wilson. She's become really, really big, but she had her son, and she did in vitro, because at the time she was in a relationship with another female. But anyway, she found out her son had autism. I knew that that's what he had before she even said that, but she is being very careful about putting her son on her channel for the same reasons most of us are. Even though my son's an adult, he's not on here all the time. He comes on here because he wants to. Y'all see him, he comes in at the end, he says hi, and then he's done. I mean, you guys have seen him in some of the vlogs, but other than that, I wouldn't do him like that. I wouldn't exploit him like that. It would never even cross my mind, but I don't know, maybe I'm a good mom. And my child, who is an adult, if anything comes from YouTube, yeah, it's for him, but I wouldn't exploit him as an adult on the spectrum. That would be some crazy stuff to do. That would be some crazy stuff to do. I'm going to keep moving it on and stay as authentic as I can. I definitely got to get out there and find more supporters. But I have found some more autism channels. I actually found one that's doing some of the stuff that I'm doing with my son, the music therapy and art therapy. So I want to see what they're doing compared to the stuff that I'm going to be doing, and just kind of compare. I know I've been on here for over an hour, guys. I'm going to come on again so y'all can see me before I get off of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the little song at the beginning. I'll try to do that more often. Everyone. I'm shiny. Oh, here comes David. He's coming. Let me move over. Come on. Have a seat. Say hi. Say hello.
Hello.
Say hi, YouTube.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, he wants to rub it. Okay. Is that all you came over for? You want to say hi to them? Say hi up at the unicorn.
I'll take you. Come.
Say hi. Say hi, everybody.
Hey, goodbye.
All right. That's it. That's all y'all get. That's all y'all get. But I will probably be on tomorrow during the day because I don't have any scenes this weekend. The next time I have to do some movie scenes is next weekend. So I might come on and do like an impromptu live during the day. Let's see. It's supposed to be nice this weekend. But I will see y'all tomorrow. Even if it's not during the day, y'all see me at some point. I'll be around. Hope y'all like my purple hair. This took me like 2 days to do this. 2 days. 2 days of me braiding. Yeah, a lot of people latch it, but I braid it. So I'll see y'all on tomorrow. Until then, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. Hope y'all like my commentary tonight. I'll see you on the morning. Maybe I'll do a morning walk and just get on here and talk to y'all. Because I do my walks in the morning, but I don't usually get on live. Maybe I'll do that. All right, guys. See y'all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.